Okay, I'm going to try and keep this quick and show you how to do your L. Lissitzky multiple point of view portrait. It's really not complicated, but there are some subtleties to getting it right, and I want to show you the basic procedure. So I've got a new sketch, nothing in it. I'm going to go up to the top and look for the little landscape. This is where you bring in a photo. Now I have taken my photos. You can see here now. Look, I didn't do a selfie, but these are of me. I got my wife to take them. I'd rather these be photos you take of somebody else. Okay? You've all done selfies galore. We all have. And there's nothing wrong with them. But I suggest a couple of things when you take your photos, multiple photos of your family member or somebody else in your household. Put them up against a light-colored wall. As a rule, I don't really like that. I mean, I think it sometimes looks like a police lineup, but in this case, white will be kind of transparent and will just disappear into the background. In my case, I'm in front of this pegboard, so I've got this pattern of black dots, which is kind of cool too. It feels sort of machine-made. It's kind of like constructivism, the Russians. More on that a little later. Anyway, so here's my first portrait. I'll click done, and so it's in there, puts it in a layer by itself. Also, I went through each of the portraits I'm going to use, and I made them into black and white. So you don't want these to be color. You want them to be black and white. So now I'm going to bring in a second one. You can see, look at these down here at the bottom. They're basically the same. The camera hasn't moved, or at least not much. It's just my sort of point of view move. So I'll bring in this second photo, and it kind of just takes over. Now I'll click done and go to that layer. Now if I click and hold on that layer, no, just click the layer, sorry. It brings up the layer properties, and you can turn down the opacity or make it transparent. You can see, as you do, you can see the other one through it. Now you can see from if you're on a plain white background or a light background, you'd have no alignment problems. Look, my dots are not lining up. That's not a big deal, but I can kind of fix that too. So I'll turn it down a bit. I'm not sure that's perfect. I left the first one totally opaque. Okay, so actually that's kind of cool. They don't have to line up perfectly, but I'm going to try, partly because of the dots in the background and partly because of my shoulders. I'm going to try and get them to line up a little bit better. So if to do that, I need to go up the very top, the palette at the top. See the little north, south, east, west arrows, kind of fourth in from the right, fifth in from the right. Click on that. That's the transform tool. Now I can use 2 fingers and move it around and resize it a bit. So I'm just moving it. I'm getting my dots kind of lined up, and that sort of lines my shoulders up too. I'll click done. So that looks pretty cool, actually. I like that. You know, I can see my profile on the right. I almost want to see that a little bit more than I'm seeing it. I can also, I kind of like how my right eye, I guess, on the left here is sort of inside the ear. I mean, that sort of plays up the whole multiple perspective thing. So what I could do, I can click on that layer. I can turn the opacity up a little bit if I want to see the profile more. But then I don't want to lose my eye too much in the ear. So I can get my eraser and I can turn the flow down. So not much. Keep the size pretty big. And just while I'm in that top layer, I can just erase a little bit around that eye. I mean, that might be a little too much, but you get the idea. I'm going to go back and turn down the flow even more. Okay, I'll erase again around the eyes. So I just did a little bit of that. If I hide that, you can see, whoops, hide that top layer. You see how my cheek is lighter? It's because I erased right there. And so that means that, you know, my eyes from the straight on one, piercing, beautiful eyes that they are looking straight out at the camera. I also don't really love how my mouth is obscured down there, but, well, that's okay. I mean, I got a scruffy face. My chin's kind of soft anyway. Why not let it be obscured? I'm going to go with a third point of view, too. I mean, I like this. I think it's pretty cool. I almost want to turn that profile up a little bit more. Yeah, liking that. Now I could, I'm not going to stick with this, but I'll just show you what it looks like. I could really turn that profile up more and then use my eraser more. Use it nice and big, whoops. And being in that top layer, I could erase a whole bunch of the back of the head. Turn down the flow even more. I mean, that sort of works too. That's pretty interesting. If you've got the if you've got the eraser set for like really low flow, so it's not erasing too much, and you've got it really big, so it's kind of big and soft, it gives you a real soft transition there, and that's kind of cool. Well, you know what? Whatever, I'll stick with that. I kind of like it. All right, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to add a third photo. So I think I might do I don't want to be like left and right. I think I'm going to do the looking down one. Okay, so again, click done. I'll go into that layer, click on it, turn down the opacity. See what I got. You can see my wife, she was moving the camera a lot. So the shoulders are kind of way off here. But I kind of like that I can see both noses, of the front-on view and the sort of looking down view. I'm going to turn the opacity up a little bit more on this. What I don't like is, again, that I like the nose and the downward-facing chin, but on this particular one, I don't much like how it's interfering kind of with the top of the head and everything. So I'm gonna just start erasing. Do I need to go into that layer? I guess I could hide the two bottom layers, just have this. I want to save the area where my nose and my chin and everything are. So I'm going to kind of start erasing, turn the flow up a bit. I'm going to kind of erase the top of my head. See what this looks like. Yeah, so you see now I'm getting that kind of like I'm looking down thing, but I think I need to, for this one, I'm going to have to get rid of, turn this down a little bit. I'm going to erase around my chin here. I'm going to get rid of these. I think I need to erase the neckline's getting in the way, and the shoulders are getting in the way. So I made my eraser brush smaller, and now I can make it larger now that I'm kind of, away from that. And whoops, it's too big. Okay. So now, boom, boom. So you can see all I wanted from that one was the looking down, my eyes cast down. Now, also, if I look at that layer, the dots in this one, I wasn't as careful about kind of like realigning them. So, do I love that? Well, I don't hate it. I mean, I could, in that layer, look, you can see I could erase even more of those dots, even more of the shoulder. I'm in the correct layer, yeah? Okay, yeah. I mean, in a way, that does kind of bring it together a little bit more. Let's see, turn that layer up even a little bit more. And I think I don't want to lose my, turn the flow down. I don't want to lose my nose up here too much. Pretty cool. So I might work on this more. I'm kind of losing my profile over here. I find that I want to get rid of more and more of that downward facing one. Yeah, look at that, because I definitely want that beautiful mouth there coming over. Do I want this neckline here? Not so much. So I don't know. As I look at this, the upper left of the main thing is a little. I can go back into this bottom portrait, which I hadn't messed with the opacity. I can turn it down a bit, just kind of lighten it a little bit. See what I mean? My main eyeballs there looking out at you, they're almost too high contrast. They almost stand out too much, like, all right, enough's enough, Brooke. You don't have to really stare us down. So if I turn down the opacity just a bit, there you go. That still stands out, but it kind of rhymes with everything else a little bit better. Anyway, that's the idea there. I will